One of my favorite poems by Keats was Ode to a Grecian Urn.
O Attic shape, fair attitude, with breed of marble men and maidens overwrought, with forest branches in the trodden weed, thou, silent form, dost tease us out of thought as doth eternity. Jimmy Clark's show last March at the Rosenfeld Gallery was a revelation of creativity in ceramics. For his current show, he told me about his newfound interest in ancient Greek pottery, as well as an Italian whose paintings have inspired a new body of work.
Last fall, my wife had to go to New York to renew her German passport. We didn't have much money, so I thought, what can we do that wouldn't cost a lot? So we went to the Metropolitan, where you pay what you wish. Normally when I go to the Metropolitan, I head right for the pre-Columbian room, but this time I thought I'd shake things up a little bit, and I went to the Greco-Roman section. And so a lot of my current pieces are reflecting those forms, which is a change up for me. The Greek urns, I enjoyed that new old influence. Especially these flat-topped vase forms, they're definitely patterned after Grecian urns. If you look closely, there's figures on here. They're like runners, and I was trying to mimic a lot of the Grecian urns have like athletes on them.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going for. Last year referred to my surface influences being from Jackson Pollock and my forms being influenced by Brancusi. Since then, I've gotten more interested in how things fit together, and so I've moved in this direction of still lives. Right now, the current fascination is with an artist named Morandi, who was famous for painting still lives of the same objects over and over again throughout his life. I started also working more with glass. My most recent obsession is making bottles. That started about a year and a half ago. They just seem to want to be displayed together, and I think I will be definitely pursuing this direction. This bottle top was found as a shard, and then I made the elongated form. I worked the shard into the piece while still raw, while the clay is still flexible. And then as it stiffens up, I eventually remove it. So this whole area and this top part here and even the bottom here, they're all windows. And then I'll enlarge those windows to try and predict the shrinkage of the clay. Obviously, the already fired glass parts are not going to shrink. So I try and predict that shrinkage, and then after all is said and done, I reattach it. And if you look closely, you can see that indeed there's a slight difference between the clay and the epoxy that's holding on the shard. But I can blacken that with a Dremel tool and help make it sort of blend in more.
Well, you know why it's such a great illusion is I just assumed it was a bottle with some clay on top of it, but it's mostly clay with some bottle stuck in strategic places, right?
Yeah. and that befuddles a lot of people. Again, you know, if you fired glass to ceramic temperatures, it would melt. So people know that, so they're like, how did you do this? Because several people have assumed that I wrapped bottles and got it all to work, but that's not what I did.
That's what I thought.
As we last spoke, I talked about history being such an important part of what I do, where I'm trying to create histories for my pieces, give them the feel that they not only relate to old prehistoric ceramics, but that they may have been around and altered for hundreds, if not thousands of years. They're under the ocean, and the water eats at them and helps change their color and their texture. They're dug up from being in the ground, where the ground would influence their surfaces and age them. What I'm trying to do here is give them that sense that they've had this long history behind them. That's why when I chose the title Still Lives, I was looking at both things, the combination of forms in a group that could be seen and interpreted as a still life, and also that each of these has a still life, that it's transmitting a story that it's telling. I started finding shards when I was walking my dog in the Wissahickon. People who lived there, obviously it was before trash collection, so they probably burnt whatever they could burn and threw whatever they couldn't burn into a heap. And now they keep coming up, especially after rainstorms. You'll just find them along the trails of the Wissahickon or down by the creek. A piece like this will have hairline cracks after the first firing, which is called the bisque firing, and then I purposely snap that bisque piece and create larger shards out of it, and then I'll treat the shards differently. So here I used a lot of the red iron sulfate here, whereas this turquoise fume over here is from copper sulfate. I purposely treat them differently, and then when I put them all back together afterwards, it has this sort of patchwork quilt effect on it. This is another piece that you can see it very clearly inside, how these were separate shards and fired with different treatments.
When old age shall this generation waste, thou shalt remain in midst of other woe than ours, a friend to man, to whom thou sayest, beauty is truth, truth beauty. That is all ye know on earth, and all ye need to know.